you can get away with a little bit of makeup to do a lot. One palette that you can get a lot done with, your favorite eyeliner, mascara, lip combo, maybe a few glosses, and then your go-to foundation. So you don't need everything in the world, but shopping is fun.
Welcome to Yodoozy Maritsa. It's great to have you with us today in Yodoozy Chit Chat. Your Instagram account, Makeup by Maritsa, it's quite popular for all the makeup and beauty tips that you share. How did it all start for you?
It actually all started with my ex. They pursued me and pushed me to pick up Instagram. They know my passion towards makeup and they're like, hey, you should do this. You should take it seriously because you could be awesome. And I was like, you know what? I think I will. And that's where it started.
So, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background as well? Like how did you get into makeup and when did you realize that this could actually be paying for your bills?
Realized in high school. So my high school was an arts school. We did acting, theater, the whole nines. And we had a haunt that we put on every single year. So I was a part of the makeup team for that haunt. And so I started with special effects, the creepy, scary movie type stuff, and love it. Still to this day, love it. I think it's the best thing ever. But prom season would come around and I would do my makeup, I would do my friends' makeup, they'd love it. And after that, we graduate. The girls know Maritsa does makeup. Oh, I'm getting married. I was like, hey, it'll be this much. And I was like, holy cow, like this is decent income. I mean, of course, when you start out, you don't charge what you really know you're worth. So the more I got into it and the more I realized, okay, there's a demand for this from me in particular, I was like, this is decent funding. So I'd say like after 2014 is when I really started to take like doing client makeup seriously. And then even Instagram and even TikTok, like working with brands, being able to monetize what I love. I was like, this is too good to be true. I have to do it. So I'd say probably like 2014 is when I was like, yeah, this is something that I could really work with.
That's interesting. And, when you realize it for the very first time, there is sort of a doubt in your head at times, and you are a little bit sure, a little bit excited about it. Maybe that you're trying to do something that you like, you love as well. How was that feeling for you? I bet you were nervous at that time, maybe a little bit excited, but how did it all feel getting into this and then realizing, okay, now I'm 100% sure that this is what I want to do?
That's the funny thing is that for me, that never goes away. So I struggle with anxiety, like the full nines all the time. So there's always still that little piece of doubt in the back of your mind. I mean, I have family members being like, are you sure? They were questioning my thought process of going to an art school, let alone, wanting to be a makeup artist. Like, is that really like a career path? And I'm like, yes. Like my mindset when I was in high school, when I found out that I loved makeup, I knew I wanted to be in that career. I purposely got tattoos on my hands because the stigma around working in a corporate environment, they're not going to hire you with tattoos. I was like, well, let's make it official. So I got hand tattoos and I was like, I know I will not be in corporate America. I know I will follow what I love, which is makeup. So even with that doubt in the back of my mind, it's just something that I love. I can't not do something that I love at the end of the day. I've always been that way. So with that doubt still there, but I know I'd be so much more depressed if I sat there and did something that I didn't love or that I wasn't passionate about.
Amazing. A lot of your content, is around makeup hacks and makeup tips. Which is the most popular hack that you have ever shared on your Instagram handle?
On Instagram, I want to say it was one around contouring. So thinking of contour like Neapolitan ice cream, where it's, the brown for your contour, the the pink for your blush, and that like vanilla shade would be like your highlight or your concealer, whatever. But just to layer things, my biggest thing is like teaching techniques so everybody knows like the realistic way to do things behind makeup, from beginners to somebody who's a pro who maybe just hasn't thought about it that way before. So that's why I'm like, contour is something I'm passionate about. I'm like, listen, you can do it this way and it'll look fabulous every time.
And why do you think that particular tip became such a big hit, with people?
Everybody knows Neapolitan ice cream. Everybody knows contour, and they're like, wait a minute, contour, blush, highlight. It makes too much sense. And then it's also kind of like you're comparing makeup to ice cream. Are you joking? So I think that's probably why that one did well.
Everybody wants to know that,
Right.
a little bit. Okay, we have seen quite a few myths around wearing makeup and how it can affect your skin and complexion, like you talked about, getting tattoos yourself when you were in high school. What are the biggest myths that people believe in right now?
I think the biggest myth that people believe, it's actually somebody who's more on an oilier skin type spectrum. They think wearing, like, they have to bake their makeup or they layer so much powder on that it will subside and subdue the oil that they're going to have throughout the day. And in my years of applying makeup to many different people, that's not true. It's not. You don't have to bake. You don't have to pound powder into your skin to make it look flawless all day and not get oily. It's actually the skincare side of things where you have to take care of that first. Powder doesn't fix everything. That's the biggest myth, I think.
Interesting. Maritsa, what does your typical makeup routine look like?
It literally today, actually, slapping on a lightweight foundation. My current go-to, it's between two, the La Mer Soft Fluid Foundation or the Dior Skin Foundation. I believe that's what it's called. Spot conceal here and there because I do still struggle with acne. It's life. And then I'll go in with an RCMA palette. It's got like a contour, bronzer, and then some concealer shades at the front of it. Super handy. Slap on my concealer, my bronzer, my contour, throw on the Dior pink blush that everybody, they're obsessed with it. It went viral on TikTok and Instagram, sold out for months. Took me an arm and a leg to get it. And then a little bit of eyeliner, a small little lash, and then a lip. And here we are. That's my day to day.
Yeah. All right. What would be your advice to someone who is always in a rush, maybe for work or with kids? How can they look their best, without spending too much time into getting ready?
Absolutely. So your friends are going to be cream products, minimal brushes, and an eye technique that you know and love and that you can do in like 2 minutes max. So whether that be mascara and a shimmer across the lid, keep it simple and just do the bare minimum, but what you need. So for me, I will always need to spot conceal because that makes me feel good. So when I'm in a rush, I know I can grab my favorite Huda Beauty spot concealer, throw it on, and then a blush and mascara, and I feel like I'm good to go. So it takes experimenting. So I always recommend, experiment first when you have the time, and then implement that into your rushed moment and see how it goes.
But do you think that everybody has to work out their own routine, or is there something that everybody could easily follow?
There are things that everybody can easily follow, but at the end of the day, it's like from individual to individual. Somebody will want their eyes complimented, somebody will want their lips complimented, somebody will want their cheeks complimented. It's different to everybody, like styles, like you can't just give one boxed method to each and every person. It has to be different every single time.
That's an interesting response, And how do you think that everyone, who is possibly getting started into makeup or who is starting getting into, using various varieties of products, etc., or maybe trying out new products, how can somebody sort of experiment and find out, what is their look, what should they opt for, which products to choose for their skin type, etc.? What would you recommend there?
My biggest recommendation that I shout across all of my social platforms is keep your receipts. So if you can return something that you figure out doesn't work for you, doesn't fit in your lifestyle or your routine, get rid of it. Because I mean, this is only half of my makeup behind me. Some of it I purchase. I'm a hoarder for makeup. So I don't necessarily always need to return things, but if there's something that I genuinely don't like, or it just doesn't work, or it ends up irritating my skin for whatever reason, like I'm not going to keep that. So I always tell anybody that I've come in contact with or that asks me, hey, would this work for me? You never know. Try something out. Makeup and skincare and beauty, it's experimentation. So if you love it, keep it. If you hate it, please just get it out of your life, return it, and move on to the next thing.
That's a very interesting response. Like a lot of people end up, purchasing makeup items, etc., that they are not going to use for a long, long time. What should be the ideal, like space that you're going to spend, like keeping your makeup? Should it be like one drawer full, or do you think that somebody needs a complete wardrobe just for makeup?
I think that depends on the person. As again, realistically, when I do my own makeup, I think I could get away with like your traditional makeup bag, like that little white bag over there size. It's probably about this wide and that big. I can get away with just that. Most of my friends who aren't, actively working in makeup, that's about the amount they need. So you can get away with a little bit of makeup to do a lot. One palette that you can get a lot done with, your favorite eyeliner, mascara, lip combo, maybe a few glosses, and then your go-to foundation. So you don't need everything in the world, but shopping is fun. Like do what you want, buy whatever you want.
That it is. Okay, let's move on to one of our more popular sections in the series where we end up asking 5 questions, and you can try and respond as quickly as you can.
Okay,
Um, so, whenever you're ready, let's start with that. 5 things you carry with you all the time.
all the time is whatever lip combo I have on, my Charlotte Tilbury pressed powder and a little puff, my pen, like an actual physical pen. My mom always had me do it, and my phone.
Interesting. 5 makeup items you would never use.
The e.l.f. putty primer that breaks me out, can't do it. Let me think. Any eyeliner glue pen, they're not sanitary and they dry out too quick. It's pointless. Oh my gosh. Liquid lipstick, never using it again. Purple blush. I don't look good in purple blush. And bright pink lipstick. I do not look good in bright pink lipstick.
5 celebrities you admire for their makeup game.
Ooh, we all know Kim Kardashian. I'll give it to her. There's also Alexa Demi from Euphoria. Absolutely stunning in every shoot. Same thing with Sydney Sweeney. They're two polar opposites, so it's fun to watch. And then Beyonce. She's very like understated when people look at her makeup, but it's perfect for her face, and all of her artists just and Doja Cat. I'm obsessed with Doja Cat. Her makeup, Ernesto, amazing every single time.
5 makeup tips that you discovered and now use.
Ooh, using a pink setting powder to set your makeup and have it be brighter, but not like a white powder. It looks so pretty every single time. Placing your contour more towards the middle of your cheek versus all the way back here, because it gives a little bit more sculpted definition. Doing your eyeliner with eyeshadow first and then going over it with your eyeliner pen or gel, whatever you want to do. And then taking your lip liner and setting that with whatever translucent powder to have it stay all day. It works like a charm, can promise. And then lastly, I think this is 5. Spraying your setting spray in between each step of your makeup to ensure that it looks perfect. at the end.
Very useful. 5 things you do to keep yourself motivated. It could be, like eating food or anything else.
Mental health is so important to me, and motivation is something that I struggle with to this day. I go to therapy. I surround myself with people that don't drain my energy, but challenge me. I take care of my physical health as well as my mental health. I need to do something physical. I do Pilates at least every other day now, walk every other day. Um, I listen to music that makes me happy, and I watch things on social media, Instagram, scrolling my feed. I follow people that inspire me. I don't follow people that feed a toxic vibe to myself. That's not healthy. So that's what I do realistically.
That brings us to an end to that session. Now, on that note, you spoke about mental health as such. A lot of people who have started working from their home, especially in the last 2 years with the current scenario, we all know about that. Mental health has been a very big issue that people had to deal with. Would you have any advice for people who are working from home or who are cut off from their family and friends, etc.? Something that they can do by themselves that will help, them balance their personal and professional lives.
Absolutely. I always like to say allow yourself breaks. Create that space of time where if you want to go watch your favorite anxiety show where you just know it's a safe space, go watch it. Move your body. It's so true. I hated hearing it, but it is so true to just get up and do something. I always like to take little breaks to clean as well, like just to vacuum around my house or go sit and pet my cats. I have 4 cats, so they're a handful at all times. Um, and talk to somebody. If you have somebody, whether that is a professional licensed therapist, absolutely. I will never not recommend therapy. Or if you just have somebody who is a best friend that can be there for you, talk to somebody about anything you need at any point in time.
Interesting advice. Okay, moving back to makeup. While you focus a lot on women's makeup tips, there are a few men and boys in our audience as well who will be watching this video. Would you have any tips for them?
Absolutely. My thought process behind makeup is it has no gender. I used to actually teach classes to trans women and, how to color correct, do specific things that they can feel comfortable in going out in public with a full face of makeup on if they never know how to. Like, here's what you do. Sometimes it's not as openly received that makeup can be for everybody. So when it's women's tips, it's not just for women, it's for anybody. You could use the concealer techniques that I'm recommending. You could use the bronzer techniques that I'm recommending. So it's really just taking that stigma off the top of it and saying, okay, I can see this with a clear vision of I could do that no matter who you are. But for specific things like beard cover up, men's skincare, it's not that big of a difference. It's kind of all the same thing. Stubble, taking care of that. Beard health, if you want to use like specific oils or like fill it in to make it more lined up, however men say. I can absolutely recommend that. And it's a matter of when I get asked the question, I'm always there to answer it. So whenever people ask, I'm happy to help and answer. Men or women or non-binary, anybody in between.
So anybody who's looking for more tips, go check out Maritsa's channel, which is Makeup by Maritsa. Ask her questions in comments, and she is going to reply definitely. So you can look up to that. Maritsa, on that note, I would also want to ask you about something which a lot of youngsters want to learn. Like, say, for example, yourself, when after high school you decided that okay, you are going to make makeup or arts as such as a career. Where do people start when they are looking at being a makeup artist or MUA?
I always say practice. So practice on yourself, practice on your friends, document your progress, take pictures of everything and be proud of it. Because I look back at pictures from when I started and it was like, ooh, no. But like in the moment, I thought it was so good. And also reflect to that feeling too, because you can see how far you're coming. And then also you can see how much you should be charging because you see your worth. Be proud of every step of the way. Surround yourself with people who are there to help you, who are there to say, hey, you need to hire my friend Maritsa. She does makeup. It's beautiful. I've always had people surrounding me that constantly push me out to the world without me even being there. So find those people, practice, and post it.
Interesting advice, and I'm sure a lot of our audience is going to find it useful as well. What more can we expect to see on your Instagram in the future? Do you also plan on starting a YouTube channel, maybe, or how is it that you are planning out your content for the future now?
So I am super excited to be moving to a new space that has a lot more room than what I have currently. So I can set up a YouTube space in there to film efficiently and have just a nice little setup, as well as having more people on my pages. So more people other than my own face on YouTube, on Instagram, to teach different skin tones, different gender expressions, and some more specific tips versus just, hey, this is Maritza's face every single time. So excited about that.
Before we end this interview now, what would be your message for our audience who are watching this video?
Thank you for everything. I genuinely wouldn't be, I mean, even here with you right now in an interview without an audience and my specific audience who's been there to support everything that I've done and constantly asked me questions and trusted my advice. And to anybody new that wants to join, you're always more than welcome. Everybody's welcome on my platforms across the board because it's open. I'm open and I'm here for you guys.
So you have heard it from Maritsa. She always welcomes feedback. You can always, like leave a comment or ask her a question in the DM related to makeup, of course. So go ahead, check out her channel, and like hopefully get some useful advice into makeup, beauty, and any other tips, etc. So on that note, thank you for having such an engaging conversation with us, Maritsa. I'm sure our audience has found our chit chat quite informative. On that note, we bring this session of Yodoozy Chit Chat to an end. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was awesome.